Weiss? What was your kind of your founding story?
I kind of worked my way backwards in the industry. I was a commercial and industrial HVAC technician.
What do you attribute your success to? Like, what are you doing differently than others? Like, what have you unlocked?
Man, accountability. That's one of the most important factors in life in general, and in business.
How are you finding people that have that same extreme ownership? And I'm borrowing it willingly from Jocko here. How do you find that employees? Do they have it, or do you like embed it, or do they learn it or train it? Like, how do you do that?
You can sniff it out with with people in an interview process. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people have the ability to learn it, and then some people want it, but they take a lot more coaching.
All right. Welcome to another edition of the Superpro podcast. I'm Roland Ligtenberg. I'm also the co-founder of Housecall Pro. Since 2013, we've been on a mission to champion the trades and champion our pros because the work you do keeps our home safe, comfortable, and communities humming along and running. Through Housecall Pro, I've had the privilege of supporting hundreds of thousands of pros, literally just like you, empowering you all to achieve more, stress less, and redefine success in our industry. I'm super excited. We've got Nick here. Nick Weiss is from Weiss AC and Heat, a standout in the HVAC industry from Montgomery, Texas, just right outside of Houston. He's aiming for $5 million in revenue this year. He's got a massive goal. He's going to focus on tightening up margins and operational efficiency. He's got a team of 11 out there with 8 trucks out on the road. Nick's not just building a business, he's crafting a legacy, and I'm super excited to have him on the show. He's calling in from his mobile office. I'm super excited to have you today. How's it going, Nick?
So far, so good. It's a beautiful Tuesday.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about Weiss. What was your kind of your founding story? You guys started back in 2016, so it's almost a decade. What happened 90 years ago where you're like, all right, we're going to go build this thing. I'm headed out on my own.
Man, it's something that we've told probably 100 times if I've told it once. I kind of worked my way backwards in the industry. I was a commercial and industrial HVAC technician, started out in the field doing maintenance, repairs, things like that. And then just, built enough relationships with homeowners, residential, customers that we eventually kind of shifted that way. I shifted that direction 100%, quit the company I was working with. And, the rest is history. We're, 8 years in, almost 9 years in, and it's been a fun ride.
That's great. I feel like sometimes that itch just happens and it can happen really naturally. And, if you start developing these relationships, more people that know what you do, they're going to start kind of pulling you into that direction. So it sounds like it was kind of like a natural progression. You've grown the business a lot in the last decade. What do you attribute your success to? Like, what are you doing differently than others? Like, what have you unlocked?
Man, accountability. That's one of the most important factors in life in general, and in business. If you make a mistake, own it. I'm not free from mistakes. My company's not. My technicians aren't. My office staff, I love them all. But if you make a mistake, don't try to cover it up. Roll with the punches, move forward, own it, and make it right. Sometimes it's you got mud on your face and you got to clean it up, and it takes money and time. Sometimes it's, losing a customer. There's a lot of things that happen in there that go with accountability. Make sure that you are crossing your T's and dotting your I's with everything you do. But, truthfully, just making sure that you're treating the customer right is the number one thing.
I mean, you obviously bleed this. This is your value system. You built the business. How are you finding people that have that same extreme ownership? And I'm borrowing it willingly from Jocko here. How do you find that employees? Do they have it, or do you like embed it, or do they learn it or train it? Like, how do you do that?
You can sniff it out with people in an interview process. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people have the ability to learn it, and then some people want it, but they take a lot more coaching. We've we've got the best crew and the best team that we've ever put together and assembled, from the ground up, from the office personnel, the staff in there, to the field personnel, how we're operating, what we're doing. It's just so streamlined and efficient. It's awesome. So finding that is, I don't know. It's difficult.
Tell me, do you have like an interview question? Do you have like something you like to ask, or is it like a gut feel that you have? And are you doing still all the interviews yourself? Tell me about like, what does that process look like? What's something actionable that like someone can take away, like listening to this podcast?
Man, don't get too big for your britches. Just be real with employees. I mean, at the end of the day, we fix air conditioners for a living. That's what we are. That's what we do. There's a lot tied to that, but at the end of the day, I interview a person to learn about them as a person more so than a candidate for the business. I do need to, check qualifications, make sure they're a good fit, because that's one of the most important things. I've hired based on personality, and they lacked in the other assets. But finding the best blend, being real with customer, being real with potential candidate, and talking to them just like we're talking. Talk to them like you're their friend. Talk to them like you want to get to know them, and don't make it all about business. And one of the most cliche things is, why should we hire you? I don't ever ask that. I think it's gooberish. I just don't like it. It's just be real with somebody and feel them out.
Yeah, and I think, look, like some people this comes naturally with, like our conversation flows naturally, so it makes sense that it's really easy for you to kind of detect these things. I think for some other people that are looking to get into business and hiring their first set of employees, it's a big gamble. It's a big bet, and I think sometimes looking at it as more of a business arrangement sometimes steers them wrong. And so the golden nugget that you suddenly drop but weren't too obvious about is really like treat them as if you really want to get to know them as a person. Because underlying everything, business aside, a person is a person. If you can understand their motivations and if they're pure and if they're in the right place, they can turn into a good employee, and all the other business stuff can kind of fall into that. But if you don't start with a good person first, you're going to have a really tough time. You're going to struggle with that person if all they're doing is trying to make a paycheck or hit a commission bonus, or they're the number one sales rep in the area and they're looking to bounce around the different HVAC companies in the area and just selling cross systems. So keep it personal. Get to know the person. I always like to think, is this someone that I'd like to have beers with? Because if the answer is no, I'm not going to want to spend a lot of time with you. Like, I'm just not going to want it. And that's not a good recipe for success. And so, that's a question that you don't need to ask, but think about it after you talk with that person. Would I go have a beer with them? Like outside of work, would I do that? If the answer is no, then you better have a darn good reason why you're bringing them on board.
Absolutely.
What have you hit that's been a real challenge for you that you think others going down the path of getting to 5 million are gonna hit? Like what was something that you had to unlock or move out of the way or deal with that everyone's gonna hit at some point that you can kind of shine a guiding light on?
The number one thing that it is understanding that as a whole, I can do, say for the most part, I can do anything within my own business. I have done it. We have done it. My wife and I, we have done it from the ground up, built it, structured it, put it together. Letting those things go and allowing somebody else to do it, training somebody else, bringing somebody on board, opening yourself to different and new ideas.
How do you empower them to do that? Like, you seem like you know exactly what you want and however you want it done. How do you do that?
There are a lot of training moments, a lot of coaching moments, a lot of sidebar and hey, this happened. Here's why we don't do this. Just explanations, not chewing anybody's butt and saying, hey, this is where you screwed up. This is where you failed. This is where we're falling short and not doing this, that, and the other, because nobody wants to work at a place where you're constantly being nagged and somebody's griping at you and doing all this stuff and telling you what you're doing wrong. I do find myself struggling to say, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, this is what this is. But I also don't nag on the other side of that coin. training people, giving them little wins here and there, the accolades for when they do something good, but also curbing the negatives and doing it in a manner where you're coaching and teaching versus just saying you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Show them how to do it right. Show them the right way, and how, say the right way. It might not be the right way, but it's the way that this company wants it to be done and operate.
That makes sense. And I think, you can't have it all positive, you can't have it all negative, and you have to have a good blend, because otherwise you're going to get some deaf ears, or after a period of time, they'll be like, all right, I just can't take anymore, and they'll tap out.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about what you were experiencing in your business when you were like, all right, I got to go find something like Housecall Pro. What was it that caused you to make that switch and go like, all right, I got to get this thing installed and we got to get going with this thing?
I love telling this story and this little tidbit information, because, one, it toots my wife's horn, and she's the one that did it. I'll just give her all the praise for that, for bringing us on board with Housecall Pro. I guess 7 years ago ish.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah. So I came from a large company. I mean, large, like 75, 80, $100 million company. And in 2010, that company was still writing handwritten invoices and billing and getting carbon copies and, the pink slip, the blue slip, the white slip, and the original and all that stuff. And I was filling out service tickets in the field, having a customer sign it, and they'd submit it and they'd bill it. And I was all outside of what I did. But I started the company in 2015, doing some stuff here and there, and officially kicked it off in 16. I was like, yeah, handwritten tickets are good enough for me, 500,000, 700,000, 1 million, million and a half, whatever. We can just do all this paper stuff. I didn't realize how much I was missing out on before Housecall Pro. My wife at what point saw me coming home from jobs, filling out invoices, snapping a picture, screenshotting it, sending it via email, collecting invoices that way. And it was just chaotic. It was a mess. When she brought it in, I was also using Google Calendars. The short of it is, it was just that push, just jumping in, just realizing that there's something out there that Housecall Pro brings to the table, with the pictures, with the scheduling, with the job notes, with the details, with the customer profile, all of it being put together. I'll attribute Housecall Pro 100% to probably 75% of our growth as a whole.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that's really interesting, because I think that's the most basic reason why people jumped on board a Housecall Pro, is just get all their stuff in one place rather than having it in Apple Notes and then camera roll on everyone's phones and then just receipts all over the place. So I think integrating that all together in one place just helps a lot. And you can't sell organization, but it is what it does, and it helps you spend time in other places of your business. From a marketing perspective, where are people hearing about your company, Weiss? When they hear that name, where's it coming from? Is it Google? Is it pay per click? Is it referrals? Is it billboards? What's your marketing mix? What does that look like?
Our marketing mix has gotten immensely more diverse over the past, honestly, 2-3 months. We've made some real, hard pushes into legit digital marketing, Google, SEO, all that stuff. Not so much pay-per-click, the other lead generating services. I just got burnout on those guys trying to chase them and get good leads. We don't do any of that. Word of mouth. We grew organically to the $4 million mark with probably, less than a couple $1,000s a year in marketing. We do have 2 billboards out there that are just, retainers of information. It just puts our name out there. No crazy ads, no 10% off, mention this ad. It's just, hey, it's our name, it's what we do, and it's our phone number. Right now, we're bumping a lot into Google. We're doing a lot of Facebook videos, Instagram, ads, keywords, SEO, all the stuff I don't know about, but we got a good marketing team that's putting together some good content for us, getting a lot of views and clicks, and that's where we're heading.
Yeah, and how do you hire and find companies like that when you don't know how to do it yourself? Like, how do you know like the bullshit detector meter isn't like firing? Because sometimes it's easy to know if someone's good if it's something that you know about. But if it's not something you know about, it's easy to be snake oil, salesman out of a bunch of money.
Man, one, I'm glad you opened the door for the bullshit meter and all that stuff, because I've been trying to censor myself this whole time, but I'll keep it PC for the most part. That's definitely the case, man. When you get those random robocalls and it's got that dead end silence at the beginning and then it goes into the stuff and it's like, your Google listing's expired. Go kick rocks, whatever. Whoever that's linking you to is garbage. There are a lot of great companies out there. I don't want to take it away from one and give it to another and say this is bad, that's good, only go here, only go there, because I don't know that side of I don't know marketing side. We went with a company locally to us in our neighborhood. We've had ties to for probably 5 years. I've known the owner for 5 years or so. And we didn't do anything with them. We weren't at that point. But with my goal, with my push, we realized there's more. What got us to 4 million in sales, and hey, 5 is a light goal for us. I would realistically like to see 6 this year. What got us to that 3.5, in 23, and 4.5 in 24 isn't going to get us to 6. I understand that we got to change the game plan, change the roster, change the batting order, and see what happens. And we've already started to see that. Finding one that like, and trust, that you can sit here and you can talk to, you can ask the right questions. And your bullshit detector, use it. Use common sense. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If it's too cheap, you're not going to get it. It's just, you're not going to get the service that you're looking for. It has to balance out. It really does.
Yeah, and I think that's a great tip. The last one that yours is like, if it sounds too cheap, it probably is. And I feel like for a lot of people, they might not understand that, in order to offer a good service, you have to charge what you're worth. And so you're going to be paying for it regardless. And so if you're cheaping out on it, you're not going to get what you want. You're just going to waste a bunch of money that way. And then likewise, in reverse, if it sounds like you might be paying too much, I don't know, that sales tactic goes the other way, which is like, okay, would they really spend that much time offering that? And can they really deliver those results? Don't just listen to the like, well, if we made you sell one more system, would it be worth it? Don't go for that. Don't go for that pitch, because that's a really common one I see a lot of people fall for.
Yep. 100%.
Speaking about Housecall Pro, what's one of the features? You've been with us for 7 years, so you've seen Housecall Pro really evolve and just like all these add-ons, all these different things. What's something that you wish you would have started with earlier on? Something that you're like, man, if only I had used that one feature when I started right away. What would that feature be?
Oh man, there's a ton of them out there, and like you said, I remember Housecall Pro was pictures, notes, details, job address, scheduling, and dude, it was awesome. It was great. It took us to the next level. And then you added this, and then you added this, and you added this, and it's like there's so much out there. It offers, and look, I'm not paid to do this. It offers so much more than I actually know. Like there's more at my fingertips. And we have so much capability, and the office is doing a phenomenal job at that. The one thing that I think lately we've taken advantage of, and I think would help somebody that's kind of piecemeal together, is the job templates and getting your price book set up and just making this stuff turnkey. People argue flat rate versus hourly billing and all that stuff. Utilizing templates, job templates, put it together with your price, have it in there, show it ready to go. And speaking of HVAC, having your full system installs, your coil condensers, your furnaces, your condensers by themselves, show the price. There it is. There's no we're creating it and typing it in on the job because you're looking around and seeing the neighborhood you're in, or upselling because of where you're at, things like that, or you sold the neighbor's one next door. Have the jobs and the templates and the pricing done, flat rate, put it together, move on down the road. It'll save you a ton of time and a ton of heartache, and it'll make everything more transparent to your customer. When you flip over the phone or the tablet, whatever iPad, Android you're using, you say, hey, here's what a 2.5 ton here. Here's what a 2.5 ton is. Here's a 3 ton. Here's a 4 ton, so on and so forth. It's just transparency.
Yeah, and I feel like not enough people understand the value in transparency, because as a homeowner, you're inviting someone in your home to come with a recommendation, hopefully a couple different options, with the pricing built out and not based upon, the car that you have sitting in the driveway or whatever Zillow says your home is worth. And let me just type in a different price. And they know that, the guy's getting, the comfort advisor's getting a spiff on it or whatever. If you come and it's like, hey, here's the price, make your pick. It becomes a lot more homeowner informed, and, you're going to see a lot of more organic upsells than if you're trying to force the issue and do a whole bunch of custom stuff on the fly. It doesn't have to be hard. And I think you're right. Transparency is that golden nugget, which is just like, just show the customer the price. Here's what it is. I didn't type it in. This is what our company does. Do you want it or not? Versus, let me come up with something super custom, and that's a nice Benz you got in the driveway. Let me just bump an extra $500 on top of that. It's not the way.
Yep.
Tell me about like an underrated feature, something that you feel like not enough people talk about that maybe isn't obvious to someone that isn't using Housecall Pro or maybe is just starting with Housecall Pro. What's something that they should keep an eye on that you feel like is important?
Two things that stick out. And while I'm not dabbling in Housecall Pro daily as much as I should, I'm not checking out the new features and all this stuff, but I'm really topical on this stuff. The key things that grow business, keep business, and contribute to growth are customer retention, maintenance plans and service contracts, whatever you want to call them, comfort club memberships, whatever you call it. They're awesome. They're phenomenal. Build that out, set that up, offer it to every customer. It's not just for your business. It really is. I don't think we make money on our maintenance plans, but what we do is we retain customers and we take care of their systems and we prolong the longevity of the system, and they're happy about that. And we also catch things before it breaks down. That's the goal of the maintenance plan. The second most important, I think, to a business side of it is figuring out how to get the Google reviews or whatever reviews. After every job is complete, it sends that reminder. We get reviews kicked back to us daily after every job that we do. I say every job, after, every 10% of jobs. I think we did about 600 jobs this month, and I think we picked up about 50, 60 reviews this month. I wish it was more. I wish it was 20%. I wish it was 30%. But truthfully, 60 reviews isn't bad.
That conversion that you just mentioned, kind of that 10% conversion mark, you guys have 1,500 5-star reviews. So this is wild. If you're asking for them on a consistent basis after every call, install, repair, maintenance, whatever it is, continue to ask for that. I mean, those 1,500 5-star reviews, if someone's looking at that, they just know that if they're going to book, there's not going to be an issue. There's not going to be a second opinion or second company or whatever. If you can boost your reviews to that rate, you have to turn it on. And I recommend sending it to Google. Don't need to send it to other places. Those don't really matter. People are looking at Google. Google's being scraped. Like, that's where you're going to show up. And that's going to help your organic, your SEO, all of the other things going to play into that. So make sure you set that up. I feel bad when pros don't know that that's a feature that Housecall Pro offers in a box bundled with Housecall Pro when they get started. And they should just do it from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about the community Housecall Pro. You've been with Housecall Pro for a while, Facebook groups. What does being in a community mean to you? Why is it helpful? Why should pros even join and waste their time on Facebook with us?
Simple solutions. When you get lost, when you get get too much information and you end up getting bottlenecked trying to do something, and you click on this, you go down this path, and you're like, oh, you uncover all this stuff. The question's been asked. more than likely, the question's been, hey, how do I find this? How do I find that? That's really what it is. Support system of your peers, and of the people that are in the same chair as you and have been where you've been and have struggled with the same thing. I say struggle lightly. Getting answers to the simple questions that are out there, and not having, and I love you guys and, the little blue chat bubbles and all that stuff, but not having to click and bother you guys all the time and do stuff a different way,
Yeah, and I feel like, just asking people, like you said, that are in the same seat, that are in the same chair, they're using the software day to day, hour to hour, minute by minute, you're going to get a set of answers from people that actually really know what it's like to use the software. Tell me a little bit about what it means to be a super pro. What does it mean to you guys? You guys have been using Housecall Pro for a really long time. Like, what does that even mean? And why should pros even strive to become a super pro?
This is, man, you should have prepped me for this one. Man, I don't know. It's kind of cool, when my wife Jessica brought this up to me. She's like, hey, by the way, we got this invite, or we were, approved for this, I guess is the way it went. I was like, okay, how much money do they want? What? Why are we doing this? And she's like, no, it's not about that. It's about you're in a top elite percentage. It's like, okay, cool. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? You're like, I kind of like being middle of the pack sometimes because I don't, have a lot of light on me. And then, totally. It's just, I don't know. It's just a cool feeling to know that we're exceeding. I mean, I'm wearing my Brood Pro partner. I mean, that's another elite, group within, a company that we're part of, and it's awesome to be able to see that the growth has pushed us that direction. We've been, offered, or we've had this offered to us from you guys. It's just, I don't know, it's a cool feeling.
Yeah, and I think there's sometimes not enough recognition, maybe even given to the pros that are being, building exceptional businesses. And I think, as a homeowner, as a consumer, it's great to see those things like a Root Pro partner, Superpro, et cetera, because all those things combined with the reviews, having an easy to book system, it sends the schedule notifications and it does the texting on my way, and all those things just add up and make it so frictionless and such a no-brainer to buy that, you can't put a value on just one of the pieces by itself, but it's that combo and building that exceptional business that helps you continue to just like compound your guys' growth. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's Nick going to be doing in 5 years?
Can we get a 5-month option on that one, man?
Yeah. What's Nick doing 5 months?
5 months, man. We're closing out summer and we're looking good. Planning for the winter now. 5 years. That is a really good question. I look at that on a personal level. I look at that on a business level. It's all based on growth. It's based on what we put together. How we're running, how we're operating day to day right now is awesome. Again, I'll contribute that to the crew and the group and everybody that we've got within the company right now and how it's been put together. If we stayed right here, it's comfortable. It's awesome. I love these guys. I'd have a beer with them, and enjoy their company. I'd also love to see that double. I'd love to see that triple. I'd love to see, 30 employees and, multiple managers and multiple, partners over the, the period and time and growth. But realistically, just being a good neighborhood, local AC guy. That's really what I am. That's who I am to the core. And, for the past 8 years, my cell phone's been easy to get a hold of. I've never changed my number. It's out there for my customers. It's out there for my employees. I'm just going to be a good AC guy at the end of the day.
I love it. And I think that that humble, straightforward attitude is what has helped take you this far and will help you get to, your 5-year goals. I think that's all within reach for sure. 100%. Thank you, Nick, so much for joining us on the Superpro podcast. It was really nice to have you on, and you shared so many good golden nuggets with our audience. For those of you that are listening that maybe aren't using Housecall Pro yet, you can always go to housecallpro.com/podcast deal. Like Nick, I put my cell phone number out there too, 858-215-1512. If you've got a special question, or you're like, hey, I just want to talk to Roland, or you want me to connect you with somebody internally, I can totally do that. Shoot me a text. Nick, thanks again. It was a pleasure, and stay tuned for another edition of the Superpro podcast next week. Thanks again, Nick.
Yeah, thank you guys.
The Superpro podcast is brought to you by Housecall Pro, the leading platform for the home service industry. Housecall Pro streamlines your workflows and simplifies everything from scheduling and dispatching to communication and billing. Unlock the full potential of your home service business with Housecall Pro. Work smarter and more efficiently with streamlined workflows and detailed analytics. Win more business and serve your customers well, every single time. Join more than 40,000 home service pros who have already revolutionized their businesses. Work smarter with streamlined workflows, get organized with centralized information, and scale your business your way. Learn more at housecallpro.com.